Making the headlines recently. On Monday, 13 men were arrested in connection with a dogfighting syndicate. They were granted bail in the Chakane Magistrates Court. A condition of bail was that all their domestic animals be handed over to a local SPCA office by tomorrow. This follows after police arrested 18 people while a violent dogfight was in progress last month. At least 14 dogs were rescued, but some had to be put down due to the severity of the injuries. The pictures are simply too graphic to put on air, so we have pasted them on our Twitter page. That's at SABC Newsroom, and we still would like to warn sensitive viewers that some of the images that you are about to see on air are disturbing. In studio with us today is the NSPCA's National Inspector, Wendy Willson. Good morning, Wendy, and thank you for joining us.
How are you?
Very good today. I think let's start at the beginning on Monday. What's the SPCA's reaction to the court outcome on Monday?
Even we're always concerned, as should the greater society, when people involved in violent criminal activities are granted bail. We're also very concerned at how the cases and the evidence has been handled to date. And yeah, we're very concerned for the case.
How do you feel this kind of issue has been handled in the past, adequately or not?
There's a great unawareness as to it's illegal. Dogfighting is illegal in South Africa, and a lot of people don't understand the associated links and the associated crime that goes around dogfighting. It is an organised crime, and it has violence very rarely exists in a vacuum. Absolutely.
Now, reports say that what we see now is simply just the tip of the iceberg. How big is dogfighting? And I've seen some of the pictures. They're absolutely horrible. How big is this problem in South Africa?
Dogfighting is South Africa's dirty little secret. It's more prevalent than you or your viewers realize. And it exists on a number of different planes, right from the street fighting with a gang to the highly organized professional fights.
When and how did it become so popular, and what are the driving forces behind it?
As with any organized crime, there's always an element of money, but in different levels there's also the prestige of owning the top dog, vast amounts of street cred at the lower levels, and then obviously the large amounts of money in the professional rings.
You talk about the money, and they always say follow the money whenever you look at any incidents. Do you have any idea who are the puppet masters behind this, and who are the people making that money?
In any investigation, it's not only provincial or national, it's also international. So the investigations happen on a large scale, and the same is happening in South Africa.
And the international links, it sort of links all around the world with dogfighting syndicates. It's not just isolated here and the rest of Africa. SADC, how does the other countries play a role in this?
Unfortunately, there is an international link with South Africa. South Africa, with its soft enforcement, makes it very attractive for international criminals to come play here. But it's right across the country.
And when we look at the numbers, because that sort of paints a better picture, I think, for people who don't understand, how many cases are reported to the RSPCA every year? Yeah.
We get a lot of reports. Unfortunately, a lot of the time it's not information that we can use. It's very vague. It doesn't have addresses, it doesn't have names. People are worried to come forward. But the society as a whole must understand that this is something that we need to stamp out. It's very, very important for people to come forward, to stand up, be brave, and let us know what's going on so that we can act.
I want to know about the dogs themselves, because some of the injuries that I've seen dogs with their faces bitten off on some of the pictures that were absolutely horrific and really disturbed me this morning. What happens to these dogs?
In the fights, they suffer the most horrendous injuries. Mostly the dogs do not receive veterinary attention at all. Are they left to suffer? They often die of blood loss, extreme injuries. And in the case of the 3rd of November, 5 of the dogs had to be euthanized on scene due to the severity of their injuries.
And what happens to the dogs that are rescued once they get taken back to the shelters? Can they ever be normalized and brought back into society as pets?
Even at this level, the dogs are specifically bred for fighting. It's what they know. They're genetically coded for it. The training brings that genetic coding out. And often there are accounts of rescued pit bulls, but most often these are the ones that are taken, they're the losing dogs. They're the ones that don't want to fight. They're the ones that are given up by people.
Yeah.
And they're easier to find homes and rehabilitate. The fighting ones, they're always a danger. They will always present a danger.
I wanted to ask you about what community members, what people out there can do. Who can people contact, and how do they get to report these cases if they know of dog fighting syndicates, and if they even know about these kinds of breeding programs?
They can get hold of the NSPCA on nspca.nspca. nspca@nspca.co.za. Or give us a call on 011 907 3590 and talk to one of our guys that will take down those details and pass them on to the relevant people. But we all need to work together to stand up and stamp this out of our society.
We're just showing you some of the more sanitized pictures that are about the scourge that is starting to sweep South Africa. Dogs suffering horrific injuries. We've got some of those pictures in cages, some of the enclosures that they live in. It's not really fit for any animals to be in. So if you have any information, it's nspca@nspca.co.za.
That's it.
Well, Wendy Willson from the NSPCA, National Inspector, thank you very much for joining us. Just a note to those of you, if you join us on our Twitter page, you can see some of the real cost, and it's very disturbing. I have to warn you, on our Twitter page at SABC Newsroom, you can have a look at some of the really disturbing pictures that we've put up about the effects of dog fighting on our pets and animals in this country.